welcome to a new Team CGC 9.8 video. So yeah, I wanted to do a video like this because I didn't want anyone to get sort of the wrong impression about the channel here because, obviously we're advocates for comic book investing, but that doesn't really mean like I think you should put like 100% of your money in comic books or that I think comic books are even the best investment you can make. Like, I kind of don't think any of those two things actually. So I thought it would be, a good enough time to just recommend a couple things I think you should do financially before you start to like invest hundreds of thousands of dollars into CGC 9.8 comic books or buying and collecting, spending a lot of money buying these comic books, whatever comic books they might be. So I broke it down into kind of 3 practical steps. So we'll get into those really quick. I did want to take the time here to just kind of compare like comic books as an investment to like a normal classic investment, because in a way like comic books, they're not even really an investment in some sense, because like classic investments, they generate cash, they make profits, they have a really good idea in a product, and then they reinvest it back into the business, and there's this like virtuous cycle of growth that happens and the better the company is, the better that happens. So that's like a classic investment, like a stock investment, if you thought about, investing in a stock of a company. Whereas a comic book just kind of sits there, looks really pretty, doesn't make any profits, doesn't spin off any cash. You're really just, with a comic book, you're just betting that someone along the line is going to end up paying more for it. That's really all it is. But, kind of negative so far for comic books. But, I think comic books are a really good asset class to invest in because I compare them as an asset class to like gold. Gold sits there, looks shiny, doesn't do anything, doesn't make a profit, doesn't pay a dividend, like comic books. So they're very similar in that way. They're a kind of a store of value, and there's no real industrial value to gold either. Like gold really is, there's very little industrial value anyway, but so I think comic books, for me, I don't personally have any gold in my portfolio, my investment portfolio, so comic books are just like a fun goal, obviously, and with the whole nostalgia for me, it's so worth it to have these, because they seem to hold their value quite well, similar to gold, but the whole fun factor and nostalgia, obviously, is so worth it for me. Now, one thing I will say, we'll get into some of those 3 practical steps I said there. That you should do before you start buying comic books, but I don't think you should ever have comic books become more than like 5 to 20% of your entire sort of savings plan or savings fund. So maybe if you're the biggest comic geek ever, 20%, but maybe 5 to 10%, certainly more reasonable, I would think. Okay, so just some general points to go over there. So let's get into those 3 steps. Okay. So a couple things I think you should do financially before you start spending serious money on comic books. So I think you should at least be saving $100 a month in saving and investing. And I pretty much recommend like an S&P 500 index fund or any low cost sort of dividend paying index fund where you're investing in businesses and stuff like that. I think you want to save a minimum $100 a month. So you want to use the pay yourself first savings method. So a lot of people get paid 2 times a month out there. So every time you get your check, at least $50 right away from your check goes into your, savings account, your brokerage account, your bank account, whatever. I don't want to get into too many details, but it does take a little bit of time and patience to set up, whether it's with your bank or an online broker, to buy low-cost index funds, where you're going to be able to invest in the stock market. But I think you need to have a savings plan before you start like spending hundreds of thousands, in my opinion, on comic books. Second thing, I think you need a cash cushion. So this will depend on your age, I think, and like how much responsibilities you have, sort of like, if you're in late teens, 20s, maybe this cash cushion, I'd probably recommend about $1,000 or $2,000, $1,000 to $2,000. Unless you got a lot of bills, maybe even higher than that, you can aim for. Whereas, 30s, 40s, more responsibilities, 5 to 10,000, this cash cushion. And, this is just a cash cushion. Maybe I've heard like emergency fund kind of term used. And, this cash cushion, the thing to mention is like once you get a cash cushion of say $5,000, that's your goal. that $5,000 is not going to be used to go buy comic books. Like, this is your cash cushion. It's for safety, freedom, comfort, so you don't have to think, so you don't have to live month to month and be kind of a slave to your bills. That's what it's for. And then, so once you get the cash cushion, then you start saving extra to buy the comic books type of deal. So you want to get that cash cushion. That's number 2. So you got to save. Number 1 is save and invest. Number 2, save a little bit, get that cash cushion. Number 3, I just think, is just to have a little bit of financial discipline and just to have a better attitude, I think, toward business and saving money and facing some like financial realities. Because I think some people, they might not face those financial realities until they have like $20,000 in credit card debt. And then, I mean, the best thing to do is face all those realities head on and start saving, like start getting on top of it. You know, start having money left over every month and investing it is definitely the thing to do. Like, yeah, I mentioned number 1, like, you know, you want to aim for $100 every month to start out for sure. You know, when I was really into it, I wanted to save at least $1,000 a month was my goal, you know, and I'm talking when I was into it, when I was like 19, 20, 21, 22, going to university, didn't have too many bills. I just went to my local university and lived at home and really took advantage of that. Yeah. So, you know, if anyone's out there in that spot, I'm a good example of someone who lived at home, went to the local university and didn't party and just saved a lot of money and was into, you know, went to school for finance and business. So, was right into picking stocks and investing back then even. So, yeah, just to have that general attitude, is number 3 that, you know, it's really easy, I think, in your 20s to be like anti-capitalism, for like lack of a better word, kind of, yeah, really easy to focus on the negatives because it's not perfect, certainly. But there's a lot of things about capitalism that's great. It's giving everyone jobs on a scale that's never ever happened before. And yeah, I think, you know, a lot of the anti-capitalism crowd, like they're doing it from their smartphone while they're watching Netflix and while they're ordering on Amazon, which is all capitalism stuff that has been pretty much plopped in their lap by capitalism activities, or sort of the free market competitive environment, you know, sort of pumping out those products and services that everyone wants. So, yeah, you know what? We'll go over the 3 really quick. Yep. Number 1 is get a savings plan. Number 2, get a cash cushion. Number 3 is just to have a better attitude about, yeah, just all things financial and, you know, embracing saving and like not thinking like, oh, money means nothing, like that laissez-faire, like, oh, just experience things and spend every dime you have. Like, that can lead to a lot of stress, in my opinion. Like, down the road, it's just those financial realities come and lots of stress going down that route. So, alright, I want to conclude up here. Yeah, 'cause I made this video, I didn't want people to get the wrong impression about the channel. Like, because, you know, it's comic book investing, yeah, but, like, I don't think you should put all your money into comic books, and I don't think comic books are, like, wildly undervalued or anything. Like, it's, I don't think comic books are the best investment or anything. So, you know, I love comic books, and I love collecting comic books from an investment perspective, and I love the nostalgia, which is kind of why I stick to my era, which is like kind of 80s and 90s pretty much. So, yeah, it totally works for me. Thing to mention quickly at the end here is that 5 to 20% of your portfolio, I think. You know, it's going to be, those figures will be a little off sort of when you're starting out, but, you know, you want to get that cash cushion, you want to get that savings plan, and then, so, you know, I think after that you can start getting some cash and buying comic books. But over time, you'll aim for that sort of 5 to 20% of your portfolio or savings fund will be, wealth building fund will be comic books. No more than 20%. Yeah, you don't want to get... You still want to have those classic investments that I was talking about that generate cash, pay you dividends, and grow. And if you get good at picking those and identifying those, it's even better. Yeah, again, I want to make sure I didn't miss on any points here. Yep, I think that's it. Yeah, you know what? The 3 little steps I'll put in the list in the description below. But yeah, you know what? I don't recommend out there, you know, it's like anything in life, you know, when you want to do something, it's going to take some time and discipline to like build up to want to do it well. So comic book investing is the same thing. You can't just, you know, get really excited and then spend every last dime you have and then be stressing about bills every month or whatever it might be. Like, that's not the way to do it. You gotta, oh wow, comic books investing is great. Like, I'm gonna be on eBay for the next 6 months learning about the market. And then maybe after that, I'll start buying some. And then in that 6 months, you'll start doing a lot of these things I'm talking about, right? So that would be a much more savvy way, I think. And yeah, again, just didn't want to have anyone get the wrong impression of the channel. Like, I'm telling everyone to like sell all their 401ks or RRSPs or TFSAs here in Canada and buy comic books. Like, I don't recommend that. So yeah, a bit of a different video today, kind of more financial video than comic books. But yeah, just something I thought about. I thought I would share it with everyone. So if you haven't already, I'd invite you to join the team and subscribe to Team CGC 9.8 and hit the bell to get all our latest notifications, and add me on Instagram and Twitter too. I'll have all the links in the description below for all that. But yeah, thanks so much today for watching. Yeah, I think a bit of a different video, but I'm sensing there are maybe a few people out there getting maybe a bit too overexcited, maybe spending too much, and maybe not having a savings plan sort of set up. So yeah, I just thought it would be something to address, because I very recommend to sort of get a savings plan, get that cash cushion, and have that financial discipline before you start spending like hundreds of and thousands of dollars on comic books. Alrighty, thanks so much for watching today. Really appreciate all the support in the comments, and message me on Instagram, yeah, if you have any questions about anything. And yeah, thanks for watching again. I'll see you on the next one.